All right, everybody, story time to start this video. So you probably remember last year I competed in 2 powerlifting meets. You probably remember because I seem to mention it in almost every single video these days, but I did one at the very beginning of April where I weighed 220 pounds, just missing that 220 pound weight class by like half of a pound. And then I did another one about 8 to 10 weeks later, a USAPL meet where I weighed 228 pounds or so. So I bulked up a little bit just because the weight classes are different. Now that being said, after that, my goal was to slim down a little bit because, as you guys know, I got married last year, so I wanted to make sure I fit into my tux, but also I wanted to make sure that I actually looked like I lifted when I went away on my honeymoon. And one of the problems is I got really specific with tracking macros, almost probably to a fault, where I got down to about 212 pounds, which for me is even smaller than I am now, so you can imagine that's pretty tiny. As it stands today, I actually weigh about 236 pounds, so almost a full 25 pounds heavier. And that's really because I haven't really tracked macros since the wedding. I went away on my honeymoon, I enjoyed myself thoroughly, came back and just kind of ate whatever I want, drank whatever I want. And I'm not necessarily mad about it, but I just got to a point now where I weigh what I weigh. I'm not really happy with how I look because the way I went about it wasn't really slow and controlled like I normally would do on a typical bulk. I kind of just bulked, if you will. So I think I look the same as far as my legs and arms and everything else goes besides my gut. So I feel like I'm just pregnant, have a constant food baby, and that's not really fun. So what my goal is going to be going forward is just kind of take more accountability. I'll probably end up dropping a few pounds initially to get more to a comfortable body weight, probably something more around 225 or so, and then slowly continue to add on from there. But I just gotta get my shit together. So that being said, I'm going to go back to tracking macros, and let's take a look at the first day back on the program. All right, so here having breakfast, and breakfast is maybe one of my favorite meals of the day, even though typically you don't have too many sandwiches during breakfast, although breakfast sandwiches and breakfast burritos are pretty awesome. Now, what I have are just a couple of eggs here, as well as some chopped up bell peppers, some chopped up onion, and also one of these frozen turkey sausage patties that I got from Walmart. I don't normally like buying food from Walmart. There's something about a lot of their fresh products that just doesn't seem too fresh to me, but I was there that day, just happened to see them. They don't have them at my local grocery store, so pick some up, and they're pretty good, easy to throw into a lot of meals like this. Then finally, I also have some oats here with some skim or low-fat milk. I don't really know, it doesn't really matter too much. And then 2 cups of frozen berries are in there as well, and this is pretty good. So I'm gonna eat this, and I'll flash the macros on the screen because I have no idea what they are at this point. All right, so on to the next meal of the day. It's probably about 4 hours later or so. I actually have some lean ground chicken. It's 98% fat-free. I think I probably grabbed the wrong one by mistake. Typically, I get like the 93% because it's a lot cheaper, and I don't really care about the fat too much because you're not talking about a ton of fat. So this is extremely lean, which probably also means it's not that tasty. I also have about a half of a serving of the instant rice from Uncle Ben. This is the jasmine rice, I believe. I just like that flavor. And to add more flavor to this, because that's pretty bland, I'm gonna be adding some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, and also one of my other favorite things, which are these Holy Guacamole 100 calorie packs. I love guacamole, but I don't like making it myself because although it tastes awesome that way, you have so much more left over than you really need. So I like these 100 calorie packs a lot. Now, one of the things that I will say is you'll probably notice so far that my meals have been pretty bro. And when I track my calories, track my macros, it's not that I necessarily eat more bro than I would otherwise, but I just know how I like to eat. And that means later at night or later in the day for things like dinner, I like to go ahead and have things that are probably more interesting, probably have a lot more fat, probably aren't as good for me as some of this stuff. So I like to make sure that I hit a lot of my things early right off the bat. And although this probably doesn't look too great, when you add in that barbecue sauce and also this guacamole as well, it tastes fucking awesome, but it doesn't look that great. But then again, I'm sitting here eating by myself. So if I had people over and I was cooking for somebody else, I'd probably try to make something that was a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. But since I'm forever alone, in a sense, never forever alone, I'm just going to eat whatever the F I want. You'll also notice that most of the things I eat are in a bowl. That way I can use a spoon and just shovel things into my mouth faster. Yes, that's how you do it. We'll talk to you soon. All right, so I actually just finished training. So for my post-workout meal of peace, what am I gonna have? The exact same thing that I already ate. So the last meal you saw was actually my pre-workout meal. Here's my post-workout meal. It's the same thing. Yes, it is kind of boring and bland. The only difference here is no guacamole this time.
but it's just easier for me to do because after I get done training, I don't want to spend 30 minutes cooking something. So this is just very easy. Plus what I cooked before really separates well into 2 different servings. So here I have the rest of that ground chicken, which ends up being about 6.5 ounces, and about 2/3 a cup of that jasmine rice and some barbecue sauce. So no guacamole this time, but still really good, really easy, really convenient because I just heat it up in the microwave for a minute and it's good to go. I'm also catching up on some Rob Lipset videos. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. He is in Thailand right now, and it's been pretty exciting, his video series of this whole vacation. His girlfriend got bit by a monkey, so how can you not like that? But I'm gonna sit here and eat, and again, I'll post the macros on the screen for all these meals. Looking like I'm going to have a lot of macros left for later tonight. I have no idea what I'm doing for dinner, so I might be doing some filling in later if need be. All right, so next meal of the day, so to say, and what we have here are some beef patties. These are 92% lean. I also have some French fries. These are Alexia French fries. Alexia makes a lot of good options if you guys are interested in like potatoes. They have waffle cut French fries like these are. They're sweet potatoes. There's a bunch of other seasoned ones. They do tri-cut potatoes, all sorts of stuff. Onion rings too, I think. And usually the macros on those are pretty good. I also have some vegetables finally. So we have just some mixed medley of vegetables here and some green beans as well. And of course we have some Sweet Baby Ray's and some ketchup. Or is it ketchup?
Ketchup? Ketchup? Ketchup? Ketchup? Ketchup? Huh. I'm in way over my head.
So I'm gonna eat this. Again, this is a little bit higher fat when you talk about the beef and the French fries as well. I don't really care right now. One of the things I try to do when I'm starting to track macros again is go a little bit easy at first and ease my way back in just to see how everything feels. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat that. And again, the macros will be on the screen. All right, so last meal of the day for this little guy, and what do I have? Well, I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's actually a little bit of a dinky one. For someone who really likes sandwiches like me, typically my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches end up looking like raviolis because I put so much peanut butter, so much jelly, that I really have to crimp the sides of the breads down in order to keep all that gooey goodness in. In this case, because I am trying to hit my numbers, some adjustments are necessary. And I also decided to go ahead and have a scoop of this My Protein Whey, some chocolate mint, which I've had for like 4 or 5 months because, again, as I said earlier, I don't really take protein that often. When I do take it, it's more of a way to hit my numbers, so I supplement in my normal diet. Of course, I'd much rather have whole foods, so that's what I typically try to do, but every now and then I will get the protons in. And overall, up to this point, you should have seen the numbers for that particular meal at the bottom. Now I'll switch it over to the numbers throughout the course of the day. So pretty good overall. Again, I'll adjust these as I need to, just really seeing where I am. And what I'm doing while doing all of this is actually cooking some ground turkey for Amanda, who, by the way, does exist. And you might not think that after watching this video, because literally I went through a whole day and you didn't see her once. She's actually upstairs showering, and I decided to be nice and cook her some food for tomorrow. So she'll be taking some of that ground turkey to work, which means I'll probably be having some of that as well. And no, I will not show you her showering unless there's enough demand.
So there you go, day 1 is in the books. Now, if I had to guess what I would eat on a typical day before I started tracking, I would say probably average around 4,000 with a low of 3,500, a higher average of 4,500, so somewhere in the sweet spot. I'd say 4,000 calories per day, but of course, given all the holidays, there are probably some 5,000 or 6,000 calorie days up in there too. Now, as far as the food choices I go, I think I mentioned it in the video, but some of them probably seem kind of boring or dull to your taste, but to me, they taste really good. And that's one of the reasons why I chose all that stuff. Honestly, anytime you have a big bowl which consists of meat, rice, barbecue sauce, and maybe some guacamole, it's gonna be a good day in my opinion. I like eating that, and that's why I choose to eat it. You will still see, if you follow me on things like MyFitnessPal, that I'll have pizza in there, I'll have ice cream, Pop-Tarts, cookies, whatever else. Just depends on the day and depends on how I feel like manipulating it. You'll also see that I tried to kind of skew it in favor of the evening. So the morning I made more calculated choices, where in the evening I gave myself more room to play around. That's also usually because at night is when I actually sit down with my wife and have dinner and we kind of go out or we do whatever, where in the morning and lunch I'm usually on my own. Although based off this video, the fact that again you didn't see her, you might not necessarily know that. So that's where we stand. Again, aiming for around 3,000 to 31 calories as is right now. After about a week to 2 weeks, what I'll do is adjust based off how my weight fluctuates, because let's be honest, you can't really use a calculator and get a good idea of what you need. The best thing to do is to put it into practice. So those calculators can give you a rough idea, but the best way to do it is track calories consistently and aim for those same numbers, see how your weight responds, then make adjustments as necessary. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching, and in the meantime, stay big.